It is well known that in developing countries, more than half of the population is under 18. These children are without protection against the consequences of the current economic crisis, and although they are without blame, they will be the first to be hit by it. Do you think this is fair, and how could it be prevented possibly?
Well, I mean, across the developing world, you see people being hit by this crisis, and as you rightly identify, young people, very vulnerable young people, for something which they have no responsibility for. And therefore, the rich industrialized world has to respond, certainly in much more positive ways than has been the case, to ensure that some of these terrible repercussions for them can be addressed.
Okay, and research of the World Bank has shown that if you invest $1 in a child, it will socially result in $7. So don't you think that investing in children and children's health and children's rights is the best way to counteract the financial crisis?
It is, and it's the best way to ensure that we have a decent world to live in. And I've worked all my political life on children's rights and just did a report for the European Parliament on children in external action and how we need to focus much more on the well-being, the welfare and the opportunities that we offer to children and young people. Clearly in terms of education rights, health rights, rights to sexual and reproductive health advice, all of these things are much neglected areas, I fear. Also you have child soldiers, the fact that children are seen as victims the entire time, whereas for me, when I visit developing countries, I see children and young people as dynamic, as vocal, as not small adults, but young people and children who have a right to be heard. When I first went to a UN meeting on children, just after the Convention on the Rights of the Child, I remember very well that all the grown-ups were shown to their seats by young people dressed in national costume. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, what is this? But it doesn't happen now. You go to anything in the UN or anywhere, anything in the European Parliament, then we insist that young people have a place on the platform, their voices are heard. We don't talk about them as if they can't, like I'm doing now, as if they can't speak for themselves. I mean, I was a teacher for 30 years before I did this job, so my heart is very much in promoting the interests and the rights of children. And it's actually understanding that their presence has to be there. You can't just say, well, this is what they want and we think we know what's best for them, because you never do. As an adult, you don't know what's best. I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother, and I can see very much how opinionated even very small children are about what is right and what is wrong. And the first thing a child will say if you dictate to them is, well, that's not fair. And they understand the concept of fairness. And that as adults is something we have to understand, and we have to actually respond to much more effectively than we have done up until now. But the rights of children and young people should be central to our objectives, to how we tackle the financial crisis, how we ensure that ours is a better world, a safer world, a peaceful world.
Okay, thank you very much.